Hey, welcome back to the Big Rant Show. Thank you for joining me. Now, the other day, they took the vote for the Electoral College for the presidential election, confirming, as we already knew, that Joe Biden is president elect of the United States of America. Now, Donald Trump has been crying and whining and crying about it. But I want to let you know one thing. This is the last time you will hear his name mentioned on my channel. Why? Because he doesn't deserve any people talking about him. But here's the deal. I don't care what Donald Trump or anybody else of his supporters have to say. They clearly don't know how things work. They don't know how our government works. They don't know how our Constitution works. And they don't care how any of that works. They didn't get their way, so they're going to cry and whine and piss and moan because they didn't get their way. Because they're a bunch of snowflakes and a bunch of crybabies. Now you can sit there and say, well, Jake, back in 2016, there were a lot of riots and protests against Donald Trump when Donald Trump won. Yeah, but you didn't see it from the leaders of the Democratic Party, now did you? Yeah, you had some idiots out there rioting, which is stupid on either side. I don't care who you are. There's no reason for violence of any kind. But the fact of the matter is, the leaders of the Democratic Party pressed forward. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi did call Donald Trump illegitimate at one point. Because at one point it looked a lot like Russia had installed him as president. Now, they couldn't find evidence to prove that in the Mueller report, in the Mueller investigation. It just showed that he had done a lot of backroom dealing that he probably shouldn't have outside of that campaign. But all in all, you didn't hear people calling for civil war and martial law because their candidate lost. You had people protesting and some people taking advantage of that. By the way, a lot of the rioting that came out of even the Hillary Clinton protest and the Black Lives Matter protest were not done by liberals or anti-fascist organizations of any kind. It has turned out that a lot of those riots were incited and started by right-wing groups like the Proud Boys. But here's the deal. Joe Biden is president-elect. On January 20th of 2021, he will be the president of the United States of America. And we can put this whole thing behind us. I don't care what Donald Trump says. I don't care what his supporters think or feel. Your feelings do not apply. I didn't like the fact that he was elected. In fact, I did not like it at all. But guess what? If you look back at my videos, I was rather, non-committal to being against him. I wanted to give the man a chance. I even made a few videos when the media went after him for no reason. When the media lied about him. I even made videos about that. I said we need to give the man a chance. Well, guess what? We gave the man a chance, and look what he did. Within his first 100 days, he was talking about cutting food stamps, cutting Medicaid, cutting Medicare. He continued to insult war veterans like John McCain. He tried to strip away 23 million Americans' health care. He tried to cut food stamps by turning it into a box. The only reason it didn't happen is the Agriculture Department said, that's not going to work. We can't do it. The logistics would be insane. Not to mention, it would kill the economy more than he already did. The fact is, he lost. Why did he lose? Because he has terrible policies that only 30% of this country support. Most Americans do not support locking children in cages at the border, ripping them away from their parents, never allowing them to see their families again. I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat. That's just wrong. You don't do it. Yes, as I've mentioned, a lot of the cages were built during Obama's era, but they were used for overflow because we had a massive amount of unaccompanied minors coming across our borders in 2012. We had nowhere else to put them because the Supreme Court ruled against us, and people didn't want these immigrants in their backyards. But there's a little difference there, right? These children that are locked in cages right now on the border have been ripped away from their parents. Why? Because their parents had the nerve, the audacity of hope. Hope for a new future. Hope for a brighter life for their children by seeking asylum in this country. Those are reasons why Donald Trump lost this election. This is why 81 million people showed up to vote for an old white man named Joe Biden. Do I think Joe Biden is going to be a great president? No. No, I don't. In fact, I think he'll be a dismal failure as president. I don't believe that he's going to get 90% done of what he said he's going to do. I still have fear for people in the LGBTQ community right now. Because he says he's going to do all this nice stuff, but will he? I doubt it. He's not the progressive that even Obama tried to be. Now, do I think he'll do anything to hurt people in the LGBTQ community or hurt the poor? No. Will he at least try to help the working class? Yes. But will he do anything to actually help? I don't know. I don't know if he'll be able to. I don't even know if he wants to. So the fact is, it's over. The election is done. Even Mitch McConnell has admitted that Joe Biden is the winner of the election. Meanwhile, Donald Trump continues to cry on Twitter, claiming he didn't lose and that the Electoral College was rigged. All in all, it's ridiculous the way this has gone. Somebody told me a few months ago, well, we'll win this in the courts. We'll go to the courts. That's how elections are done, is in the courts. No, you dumbasses. It's not. We don't win elections in the damn courts. We win elections at the polls, at the ballot box. That's where we win elections. I can only think of one other time that it went to a court. And that was in Florida in 2000 on whether or not to do another recount. I thought all that BS was crap too. By the time it was done, I was actually happy that Al Gore wasn't president. Because I didn't want to hear it anymore. You either win at the polls or you don't win. It's as simple as that. There was no chance that this election was going to go any other direction after Election Day than it did. Why were certain things done the way they were? Because the laws of the states that those battleground states were. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Their mail-in votes, by law, had to be counted after all the other votes were counted. That's why Philadelphia or Pennsylvania had all those mail-in votes to count that swung the election from Trump to Biden. It's just the facts, people. I'm sorry. There was no rigging. The DOJ and even the former Attorney General of the United States, handpicked by Donald J. Trump before he resigned yesterday, said there was no fraud. That if there was, that the fraud, even with the fraud, even if there was fraud, it wouldn't have been enough to overturn the election. Because fraud happens in probably every election, but it's usually less than 1% of the vote in any given place. And so it's not going to have the ability to swing the election. No, the machines were not rigged and switching votes to Biden to Trump, or from Trump to Biden. There were issues with miscalibrated machines. that were, once they were told, hey, this isn't working, a worker came over and fixed it. Or turned it off and just didn't use that one anymore. This happens anytime you have electric voting. This is why I suggest you never vote electronically. That when you show up to a poll, you take a paper ballot. If they don't give you a paper ballot, you make a complaint about it. And demand a paper ballot. Because those machines has nothing to do with anything nefarious, unless somebody happens to hack into them, which, of course, Russia and China both tried this time around, from what I've read. But they didn't get through. But these machines can be calibrated wrong, and when you click on something, it's not what you clicked on. The machines can malfunction, just like a friend of mine had happened to him at an ATM machine the other day. It didn't work because the machine malfunctioned. And so the screen kept telling the buttons just weren't working. The calibration was wrong. But there was no vast conspiracy against Donald Trump. I mean, really, do you really think Joe Biden would have rigged an election? Or could have rigged an election? In his mental state? I mean, come on, all you gotta do is listen to his story on how he broke his foot or his ankle. And it tells you everything. So, the Electoral College did their job. And in the end, it is what it is. Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. You can either be happy about it, you can be pissed about it, but there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you down the road.